Hi, this is Mrs. Naomi, and I have an Easter confession. Easter is boring to me this year. It's very disappointing. I know that Easter is about celebrating the resurrection of Jesus from the dead and Him conquering death and bringing us hope. So even though we can't have an Easter egg hunt together today, I would like to encourage you with some special things from my garden that bring me hope and joy. And fill your bucket. One of my favorite things about my garden is all the colors. There's yellow, there's red, there's all different colors of green, there's orange, there's white, there's pink, there's all different sizes and shapes of leaves, there's blue flowers, there's even red leaves. All this variety brings me so much joy. And I remember that God made it all, and He made it to bring us joy. Something else I love in my garden is my composter, my self-rotating composter. And in my composter, I can turn garbage, rotting vegetables and little nasty pieces of paper, which looks terrible. It's all dying. I can turn that into food for my garden. It's called compost. Just like God brought new life from Jesus' death, I can bring new life to my garden through the death of all those old kitchen scraps, which I love. I also have plants that I planted when they were tiny that have grown much bigger. This one's called blue-eyed grass, and these are my carnations. And when I planted them, they were very small plants, and now they've gotten so big and spread out. And some plants that right now don't have any food on them are just starting to grow it. You can see here, we've got some fruit growing on our nectarine tree. So we're going to have nectarines that are going to come. Maybe eating nectarines isn't an egg hunt, but it's still something we love. Here are my irises. Beautiful, beautiful plants they start with a bulb, a teeny tiny little bulb that you plant down in the ground. And it seems like it's dead. There's nothing going on, and it stays there all winter. And it just comes up in the spring. And that always reminds me of the burial and resurrection of Jesus. We also have our wonderful fountain with the sound of running water that reminds us how Jesus said He is the living water. Now, maybe this is a tough time for you, like it's been a tough time for us. But just like Jesus came through His tough time, God brought Him through, God will bring you through. Here's some plants of mine that have gone through some hard times. This one took years before it would even put out flowers. It's doing great now. And this yellow rose bush, it had to be transplanted, and then it had to survive having a whole fence built behind it. It's going to give us all kinds of yellow roses this year. And this plant here, I've tried to dig it up twice, but it just keeps coming back. Which reminds me, just like it says in the scriptures, we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. Now, my garden is very exciting to me, but our kids were looking for a little more, so we got out some other things to do with them. Maybe there are things you can do in your backyard. It's not an Easter egg hunt, but it is something. We've played bocce ball, where you take this little white ball and you throw it out into the yard, and then you see who gets their balls closest to the white one. Looks like the green one won. We've also played bullseye buckets, where you take your bean bags and you throw them, you try to get them in the opponent's bucket, just like that. I made some points. We also got out our tent. Here's our tent. First time we've ever used it in the backyard. And Nova and Sammy and Scott and I all slept in it. And we got out our chimenea. It's like a little barbecue. We roasted hot dogs and marshmallows, and all 6 of us were together here. And their dad read us a story, and we really enjoyed watching the stars together. So, it may be hard for you to feel the magic of Easter and the power and energy of the resurrection of our Savior. But if you look with eyes of faith, I think there are signs everywhere that our buckets are not empty after all. I love you, and I'm looking forward to getting together with you in person. Bye.